I think, a greater threat for the flooding rainfall. All right, Chief Meteorologist Bill Kelly just saying that we've got a possible tornado warning coming in here. So we're going to get to that. Let me jump over here. Let me see if I can find that here for us. Because this has been something that we've been tracking. A lot of that heavy rainfall and gusty winds have been a significant concern, where we've seen the resulted damage and flooding from this. Bill, are you mic'd up? Do you have anything?
Yeah, I got my mic on.
You have your mic on, okay.
Yep, I do have my mic on right now.
So let me switch over here. Let me find this tornado warning that we're talking about here.
Yeah, if you want to pop it on in there, we're talking Montgomery County. It's over that severe thunderstorm warning, and folks, just live TV, we jump on, of course, when things are going on. All right, so yeah, National Weather Service just ordered this. I'm going to go grab what's called a tracker here real quick. It's in our virtual studio. You want to talk about what you see out there?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and drive the radar right now, Bill, while you jump on in front of the screen there. And there you see the tornado warning. That goes for Berks and Montgomery County. This severe tornado warning, goes until 5:15. Let's pause this and get the information on here as we track it out in time. It's moving to the east. Most of these cells have been moving around 25 to 30 miles per hour. This cell right here is moving around 20 miles per hour. So we'll get a tracker on it, and we'll take it out in time so we can see where this storm will be here over the next 45 minutes or so, and we'll put it out to the east. It's moving out towards Douglas around 5:17. And then if it continues to the east, I mean, these storms are moving very slowly, and that's been the other concern, has been the heavy rainfall with these storms. So there's your track, moving to the east at 20 miles per hour. Go ahead, Bill.
Do you want to go ahead and pop on the velocity data there for just a moment? And Justin, if you get a chance now that we're all set, if you want to push that shot in. Folks, if you're just joining us, maybe you heard your weather alarm go off on your phone, you're watching us, you say you got a tornado warning. So this is interesting, Grant. Right down here. As you can see, Grant and I were tracking this. When was last week we had the tornado warning? I think you and I were on the air. And yeah, we're looking at this right here. What we're looking at, and if you want to give a track of this specific, or maybe even zoom down just slightly here, when we look at the storm movement, we look at the direction that the winds are moving and the speed at which they are moving as well. And right there, I mean, that's a pretty decent signature there as we're looking.
Yeah, it is. It's fairly broad. So it's not as tight as you might expect it to be, and there's your rotation. Let me draw that again for you.
Right in there, sure.
You're looking at that wind going away from the radar site, which is in New Jersey. And then there you got wind going toward the radar site. So that's your rotation, right?
Yeah, so we're talking about anybody down near Pottstown. You're kind of off, that's behind me essentially. But just north, this is Amity Route 422. As we track this on out, the most important thing for you to know is that we want you to get into the lowest level of your home. We want you to get as many walls between you and the outside as possible. We got Boyertown here at 514, Douglas at 519. We got Bally coming in here at about 523 or so. And this storm is moving. What did we track it out at, Grant? You said around 20?
Yep.
Look at right around, we're starting to, I mean, right in here. If you want to, just to the north there, this is actually a pretty decent signature. And again, what we're looking at, notice how the bright shade of red, if you just want to zoom down right in there, that bright shade of red right next to that bright shade of green, what that is, and Grant just mentioned that the radar is in New Jersey. Okay, the radar that we're picking up near Fort Dix. So all the green shades are moving toward that radar. And right here over Pine Waters, if you are in this area, Pine Waters, you need to take your tornado precautions now. This is a very strong signature, relatively speaking, in terms of we have winds at the surface going this way, or at least from the radar. This is probably what, about 6,000 feet up, maybe 5,000 feet up. So it is looking a little higher up in the sky, but you have winds that are clearly going away from the radar, which again, you just saw it sweep around. It's in New Jersey, and you have all these green shades that are working toward the radar. And so you have this, we call it a couplet, where you get this tight area where the winds are spinning around in different directions. And that is a tornado. It is a rotating column of air that comes out of the cloud, and if it touches the ground, it's a tornado. If it doesn't, it's a funnel cloud. But that tornado warning is in effect. Yeah, Grant, if you want to track that out here, and let's take it out a little bit farther. We're talking about Pine Waters. We're going to move this across. A district is in here. Manatawny is off to the south there. They're a district at 5:06. What time we got now? 4:53 is our timestamp. We're going to continue to see this move off to the east. So we're in, right now, we're in Montgomery County, heading towards, say, Bucks County on the bigger picture here, north of Chester County. Places like, this is actually in Berks County, my bad, moving into Montgomery County. So it's for Berks and Montgomery County. And you got Lower Milford there right around 534, Milford at 540. So, if you're just joining us again, tornado warning, an active tornado warning. You want to put that polygon back on there for a second? If you're in this area, in Berks County, Reading, you are not in the tornado warning, but boy, it is pouring at your house right now. We got the flooding, we have the damaging wind threat, we have the lightning threat, and now we have a tornado threat on top of it as well. A tornado warning has been issued from the local National Weather Service for Berks County and Montgomery County. It's a radar-indicated tornado, and that's what you just saw. And oftentimes when we go in there and we look at the radar, you know, we're up front, we tell you, hey, sometimes we don't necessarily agree with the call from the National Weather Service, but we cover it for you. I absolutely agree with this call. I mean, I'm looking here, Grant's driving that radar. I'm looking at another radar here, and just the difference is this exactly, this color. Now, this is a brand new scan, just came in. That's not quite as tight as that other one was, but there is absolutely spin going on in the atmosphere right in here into Berks County. Again, just kind of position you, we're kind of starting to move out. There's Reading. This is moving up. This is the Lehigh County line right up to the north. There's Allentown. This storm moving from the west to the east. So you folks up in Allentown, Lehigh Valley, this direction, you're going to get active weather, no doubt about it. You have the lightning and heavy rain. You are not in the tornado risk. You guys in Pottstown and Limerick, you're just south of this. But here we are, Grant. I mean, it's 5 o'clock. A lot of people out traveling around.
Right.
You know, you want to certainly get the word out. It's just not a good night to travel if you don't have to. I mean, we have so much going on here.
No, and I mean, Bill, a lot of this, obviously the tornado, the most immediate threat here, but you've got the heavy rainfall in addition to these winds.
All the flash flooding, right?
Right, a ton of flash flooding out there.
Yeah, so I mean, this map, just how I often say, the brighter the map, the prettier the map, if you will, the more damaging the weather is, and the more there is to talk about. I mean, yeah, bring it on in here, Grant. There is a ton to talk about here with this particular weather system. And so, yeah, like you said, flash flooding by itself is hazardous and is a big problem. I just heard BS alert, make sure. Two
areas of concern here. I think they just updated the tornado warning.
Yeah, and then just a new one with a flash flood warning that came in from Montgomery County, and I don't know if that was an extension or if that was an update or if it was new, but that just came down from
This is the secondary line. You've got that initial line. This is what produced all the flooding that we're seeing here in Philly. So a lot of roads in Philly underwater, or at least were underwater with the flash flooding. Now you've got the secondary line rolling in, and this one has that little bit of spin. And we were talking about this earlier during the newscast, how this was a merger of two lines. If we were to go back and we were to take this line back for about an hour or so, then you would see it was actually two different cells that were coming together. And when you get these merger of cells, you're just going to have a natural type of spin that happens. You have different updrafts coming together, and you're going to get that spin, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. And it's sort of taken off on its own, producing that threat for the tornado.
And it's also worth noting with that spin, now I'm going to clean this radar up in just a moment, but we have the tornado warning within this box. You have all these bright colors, so it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of rain too. This is not your typical what you might visualize out on the plains where you have this basically a rain-free sky, but you got this funnel that's coming down. It's not going to be that. It might you might want to go look and it's pouring rain. Suddenly the tornado is over your house, and so we encourage you, lowest level of the home, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Don't get into a car, don't be driving around. Take it seriously, let the storm system pass on.
It almost looks, I mean, you've got the polygon here, John, here. And Bill, if you would pause that.
Yeah, oh, sorry, I'm gonna go back, let me go back to that one again. We have the polygon on there now. What were you gonna say about that?
I was gonna say, you're starting to see a little bit of a hook there on the north side of where the polygon is.
Talking about like right up in here?
Yeah, and it looks like that's where the rotation was. So district, I think if you're in the district area, you probably wanna seek shelter currently and make sure you're in that safe place for the next 30 minutes or so. This, even though the tornado warning goes until 5:15, you want to make sure you allow all the weather to clear out, and that's it right there. I mean, you see district, there's your couplet right there, and that's that rotation where that tornado is possible.
And if you look at that direction too, it is moving not just due west-east, it's kind of shifting and moving a little bit up to the northeast as well. But absolutely, in this area right here, we're looking at Berks County, right in the corner of the northeast section of Berks County. please take your tornado precautions into here. Even in sections, if you're ahead of this into Lehigh County and into the northern part of Montgomery County, upper Montgomery County, I'm going to track this out for you. And I'm going to use that couplet that we're talking about, this picture. I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to sample that from right there and just kind of give you a heads up. There's Lower Milford, there's the blue route, and I'm going to put this into, let's put it now, and I'm going to use this tool, and I'm going to take it right where this is, and let's draw it out. I'm going to take it long. I'm going to take it an hour. And we have this set, you have it set at what, the speed moving at 20. What was the speed? This 20.
20, yep.
That's pretty slow actually for this storm.
It is, and that's the flooding concern because these storms are moving so slow, so you're going to have a lot of impact for a long period of time.
Sure. So any of these cities right now, Milford, Upper Milford, Emulus, Milford again, a lot of, or Harrisford, there's Milford there. We got anywhere between about, what's it now, 5 o'clock, between roughly on this map, 5:20 to about 5:40. We'll see if it holds that long. I mean, a lot of times in a situation like this, where it's not a classic setup, and as we were talking about earlier, the tornado threat is low.
Right.
It's not zero, right? But it's not classic. A lot of times these will spin up, like we saw, and then kind of stop for now, and so this might not go out this long, but we wanted to track it that long for.
And there's multiple other severe thunderstorm warnings around the area too. This is not the only storm. It's not like we've got one storm. We're talking about this severe thunderstorm or tornado warning here, but we've got several other areas that are dealing with the heavy rainfall, the flooding, the potential for damage. There's been a few reports of some downed trees and some power outages and some power flickering. So I'll say this right now: if you still have power, make sure you're charged up, because this could continue into the evening. So we could still lose power over the next few hours.
Yeah, and that's always great advice. Charge your devices fully. If for no other reason, you get your flashlights there, but you have your phone, you have this and that. But we broadcast, we always say this, we broadcast all of our cut-ins, all of our newscasts, everything we do on the stream. So you're going to get that as long as your device is charged up. Even if you don't have electricity, you can get a cell signal perhaps, and then you can get your information and watch. And last night we were here late because some places picked up in this region 4, 5, 6 inches of rainfall. So the ground is saturated. It's not going to take much for wind to knock over trees, get some of that damage, the branches coming down, and of course that would linger and put into those power outages. And then, you know, we had some damage yesterday into parts of Delaware with trees into cars or into a house, and that's always one of the things we always get really fearful of. I'm going to go off the tornado warning for just a moment. I want to put you mentioned the severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's talk about that part of the storm. I'm just going to put those on the screen, the orange polygons in addition to the watch. So there you go. So that's what we have right now. This whole area is under a severe thunderstorm warning with this embedded part that has the tornado warning in it. Right,
and then you've got one severe thunderstorm warning down into central Delaware, moving through. This is heading actually toward Wilmington, even though Wilmington's technically not in that severe thunderstorm warning, but that's tracking to the north, and that goes until 5:45. But these storms are going to hold together. It's not just the heating of the day that's supplying the fuel for these storms. Strong cold front that's moving very slowly, so that's really driving all of these storms. So until it moves through, I think any storm is going to continue to have that severe threat.
You ran that map a little bit earlier that shows that cold front just kind of sits overhead, right? Just kind of hangs out, and that is, we often talk in weather, you have the ingredients out there for these types of things. You have a little bit of spin, you have movement, you have the moisture. There's no question about that. You walk out, you can feel that. And then how does that air get up in the air? You got to have rising air to get these, clouds, ultimately storms. And that lifting mechanism is exactly what he was talking about, is that front that comes through. I picture it like a bulldozer, right? Taking that warm, humid air and just scooping it up. And when it scoops it up, look at all this lightning. We really haven't talked about the lightning threat as much. This is another potentially significant issue. I mean, there is a ton of lightning with this storm. So 5:02 right now, we're tracking a tornado warning in effect for Berks and Montgomery County. We're continuing to track severe weather, not just there, but also around the entire area. So we're going to continue to track this here on CBS Philadelphia as we go through the rest of this evening, because this tornado warning goes until 5:15. And then we'll see what happens after that. But all indications, if it's not a tornado warning, still a threat for a severe thunderstorm. And we cover tornado warnings, okay? And it looks like did they just extend that down? Did I see them just move it down? They probably just trimmed the warning with an update. So areas west of that were in the warning are now no longer. Gotcha. We always say, don't get hung up on, is it a tornado warning? Oh, it's only a severe thunderstorm warning. The only difference between what we have warned here in the red and what we have warned around it in the orange is the fact that there is some rotation within this one. The others certainly could still put down winds of 60 miles an hour or greater with the lightning, with the heavy rain, with all the same threats, just not spinning like that. And so it's not necessarily one is bad, the other one's no problem. We want you to take this very seriously.
Well,
right?
last week, case in point, we had several severe thunderstorms come through. It took down a lot of trees, and we were noting a lot of those severe thunderstorms were taking trees and putting them onto cars.
Yeah,
so
a ton.
And into homes.
And into homes. I mean, we'd even comment because, you know, we're meeting here too often, it seems, right? You and I doing this. Yeah, it was just one after another into a home. We hadn't seen them quite that active in a while. So here's what I'm seeing. You tell me what you see. I see the couplet a little bit less defined than it was about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. It looks like the rotation has weakened a little bit. Still certainly there. I don't want to, you know, give a false sense of hope here with this system, but it is looking like it's weakened a little bit. You see the reds aren't as deep. Right there, you see,
there, yeah.
It was pretty dark red. That would indicate really strong winds going into that storm.
Yeah, that one right there is alarming. That was at 4:52. That was only 12 minutes ago, and you could see the difference between the red and the green compared to now, and how it's kind of opening up a little bit. So if there was, what I visualized, if there was spin that was touching the ground, this is radar indicated, not that I've seen yet an indication on the ground. I'm going to go grab my equipment in just 2 seconds, and I'll let you take over for a moment. But it looks like it's kind of like lifting perhaps, and then still got the spin, but not as anywhere near as defined as it was.
Yeah, and that's an indication that the whole system is starting to relax. The rotation isn't as strong. The winds aren't as strong within that. But within that rotation, you have winds, even if they weren't spinning, you still have those strong winds of 60 miles per hour or stronger. That's going to cause
exactly right there. I just sampled this part of the storm, and this is not part of the rotation. This is just where we have these really bright shades, and this is picking up, you know, between about 50, maybe 60 mile per hour winds, something like that. That's not rotating. That's the straight. Take these storms seriously. Don't get really wrapped up in terms of where that rotation is. There's a severe thunderstorm warning. You got these winds that are strong, you got the lightning, you have the rain. We want you to be very careful with these.
Right. That's, I mean, with all these storms, not just this one tornado warning, but also with these other severe thunderstorms that are moving through. That again, this is sort of the round two of this. Round one is actually moving into most of Jersey right now,
that's
moving
this
right
right
along
here.
the Delaware Valley. But then you look back up to the north and west, and that's where we got the secondary line that's producing that tornado threat right now.
Yeah, so right now we can just talk about this for a moment. This is that storm cell you're covering a little bit earlier on that moved its way through Philadelphia, right? So now we got strong storms over northern parts here of upper Burlington County, so Pemberton, back over probably Morristown, Cinnaminson, a lot of lightning going on right in here. This extends up into Ocean County. And then we have this other seemingly larger and more potent, because it's likely closer to the cold front, back here where you're talking about.
Well, and it just looks like a huge ball of severe weather. I mean, all the lightning, a ton of lightning within
there really
that. Probably
is.
some hail in there as well. Probably up around a quarter size in diameter. And then you've got the inside of that mesocyclone.
Let's look. Speaking of inside, let's just look and see what we're looking at. There are parts I'm looking for any kind of hail signatures through here. I mean, these clouds are up at the 40,000 foot level or so right there. So there's definitely going to be a lot of that translated down to the surface, which enhances that severe thunderstorm warning. That's in effect for this. I'm looking up here till 5:30. That thunderstorm warning, tornado warning set to expire here in about 8 minutes or so. 5:07 on my clock right now. 5:15 is when that is set to expire there for the tornado warning. Just getting an update here. It says a new severe thunderstorm warning for Northampton County. It's kind of the northern end.
Right, that whole line of the storms are moving to the east.
Yeah, so there you go. They just really extended that one out quite a bit as it rolls into upper Bucks County here. Montgomery County, just kind of flirting with Allentown here up to the north is what it looks like in terms of the severe thunderstorm warning. Let's do another track from this storm. I want to bring up the velocity again. We're going to look at where that spin is. We'll track it from that point, and then what I think we should do is track the whole storm as a line, not just the tornado warning itself. So let's bring this up. And again, a much more improved signature.
Oh yeah, that's significantly improved.
Yeah, in terms of not as dramatic. So let's just do a localized, just going out over the next 45 minutes on this particular one. Harlem 509. Hereford for That's right around 513, Upper Milford at 524. And then I'm going to track this out. I'll have you read this out. Let's go on this big, it's hard sometimes to track these out when they're so large and there's not a well-defined edge. But I'm going to track the whole storm out at about the whole line moving roughly 30 miles per hour. So let's take this leading edge on this big old slice and do something like that. What do you see? All
right, so you got Trenton by 635, and I think that's the thing. Anywhere between where it is now to Trenton is going to see this severe potential, but you point out a lot of those other towns. Wilmington's going to see it there around 552,
right?
And then you've got Philly right around 615.
Yeah. So
well, and Bill, I mean, there's if you go a little bit farther to the south and west, there was a cell moving through Baltimore about 15 minutes ago that
had a lot of lightning
that
too.
was running up 95.
Yeah, look at that one. And then that one here is also, tell you what, let's just track this same one out as well.
It's almost like all these multiple cells are all beginning to congeal into one broad line that'll sweep across the entire area, which was a concern earlier in the day. We were saying, look, you got all this heat, now you got the systems forming, so they're going to come together and almost join forces
for sure to
sweep through. So you almost could have one large severe thunderstorm warning.
So a couple things. We're just going to leave the tracking so you can see Dover right around 6 o'clock. So we're looking at it's 5:09 right now. You're watching CBS News Philadelphia, severe weather coverage, Grant Gilmore and myself, and of course the whole team behind the camera. We're tracking this right around the commute time when most people are out and about, summertime. Kids are out playing in water. There are events. There are sporting. Phil's are supposed to play tonight. I haven't heard if they've done anything with that game or not.
They postponed to tomorrow, doubleheader tomorrow.
Did they do that already? Okay, I figured they would. We were talking about this yesterday. I'm like, I don't see any way they're going to be getting any kind of game unless they start very, very, very late. So there's an impact for a lot of people. Certain things that even if you're just taking your kids to dance or sports or swim lessons, if you don't have to travel tonight, I would just recommend staying at home. Let this system pass on by. Stay safe because all of the threats are on the table. Some are greater than others, as you talked about. The flooding threat is the greatest risk, I would say, probably with lightning maybe being the second somewhere in there and the damage that would go along with it. High wind is a big threat.
Right, especially now that we're seeing all these storms come together. I think you're going to have a broader area that could potentially see the damaging winds as opposed to little isolated cells that are producing those damaging winds.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. And so this is going to go for hours when we're talking about the overall area in which we're covering all of the Delaware Valley. So we're really doing that. If I take all this off, let's kind of clean this up a little bit, and then we'll kind of regroup as to where we are with the warnings. But you mentioned down into some of the southern areas. Let me just bring you the bigger map and put this thing in motion over the last 30 minutes. I mean, clearly just based on the lightning emblems that you see, that's where it's the strongest, and it drapes down like this. But yeah, there's rain behind it, and this is not anywhere near as severe back here, but it's extra half an inch, inch on top of the rain that's already there. So that's why we think flooding is our #1 issue. And again, it emphasizes if you don't have to be out and about, it'd be a good idea not to. It always gets me. I watch where, okay, so maybe it's not as dramatic as you're going through and there's a creek that's overflowing the road, sweeping cars off there. Okay, that's obviously a dramatic flash flooding event. But just localized flooding, driving down, I go home at night down Route 70 in South Jersey, and there are spots that I know that if we get even a half an inch of rain, there's going to be a big puddle on the road. And if you are not paying attention and you hit that doing 40 miles an hour, 45, your car is going to jam off to the side. And then you've got your own problem where you could get into an accident, cause others as well. So that's what we're going to be looking at here with this system as it's rolling through.
So let's go back down to that tornado warning, Bill. Let's go check that out because we got another couple minutes on that warning. The warning goes until 5:15. Several other severe thunderstorm warnings now forming along that I guess merging line of storms. That severe thunderstorm warning that was then issued to the east of the tornado warning, sort of an indication National Weather Service is seeing what we're seeing, and that's that as this rotation is weakening, maybe not as much of a tornadic threat, but the wind threat will continue with this as it moves to the east.
I'm sure that they're going to let this expire at 5:15 for now. And then we'll watch that for moving on because like we talked about, quick spin going up, you get the rotation, you get the potential tornado on the ground, and then that kind of lifts in a situation like this. They're not going to be long-lived, long-track, super large, violent tornadoes, that type of thing. But still big threats nonetheless that can cause all kinds of problems.
And what we're probably going to see is while there's still a little bit of rotation within that cell.
Yeah, a little bit right where
that line of where the green kind of meets the red continues to the south. That will probably continue farther to the south now. You're starting to get this broader line. But you can see, I mean, still right there, just north of Upper Hanover, you can see that that's still a little bit of a hook there.
A little bit. Yeah, let's just kind of track that out and give you some timing here. You got Upper Saucon. Am I saying that correctly, guys? What is it? Saucon. Okay, Upper Saucon, 529. Hilltown, 533. Haycock at 540. So we just, as many walls between you and the outside as possible. We say these things, just keep in mind the wind's very dangerous, and bear in mind that we're dealing with the potential for the trees and the power outages and all that activity.
I hate seeing the combination of a tornado threat and a flooding threat, because so often with tornado threats, if you're not in a home or a structure, we say go find a ditch. And if you're out on the roads and there's a tornado coming, we say go find a ditch. And that's going to keep you as far away from those dangerous winds associated with tornado. But obviously when you have a flooding concern, in conjunction with the tornado concern, a ditch is not the best place either, because then you can get those rushing waters that can go into a ditch from flash flooding. So these are these scenarios that we really have to be aware of our surroundings, whether you're at home or you're out on the road. There's just a lot going on with the weather from a wind and a rain perspective.
And in the summer, there's a lot of people outside, and it's having in the back of your mind that plan. So I'm out at a lake, for example, or I'm camping, or I'm on a hike, or any of these things. And what do we do if there's something like this, severe weather, tornado warning? Where do we go? And how do we? You got to get into a sturdy structure. You just have to. Mobile homes, unfortunately, are just not good places to be. They're actually quite unsafe to be in a tornado warning. And so it's important, especially not in the moment when there's a tornado warning. There they go. They just drew it down. So that did expire at 5:15. What you do, it's in those times that it's quiet, you get to go with your family. Okay, if we're here, this is our plan if we get a tornado warning. So you're not thinking about it when we're on air telling you that, hey, it's heading towards your house, and have a plan there. So the tornado warning itself has been expired. They did not issue that, as we didn't think they would extend it, because we were looking at the same thing you guys all were. But we still do have the severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect. New event flash flood warning, Montgomery County, and so we continue to move on to the other part of the story, which, I mean, look at all these flash floods that are
all the blues are your flash flood warnings, but then that green right there, that's Brandywine Creek. That one rose to flood stage very quickly. A couple of other creeks in the Philadelphia area have gone to flood stage very quickly as well. So a couple of different issues here. Well,
guys, so the tornado warning is over right now. We are going to continue to monitor. We're going to have your hour-by-hour forecast. We're going to continue to cover the severe weather along with the flash flooding coming up in just a few minutes, but that's what we're going to do right now. So we'll send it on over to you guys in studio.
And gentlemen, we appreciate and thank you for your expertise. We'll see you in a little bit. Thank you.
Well, here is another look at next weather radar. Bill is going to be back in minutes with an update for us, and you can also get his forecast anytime at cbsphiladelphia.com/weather.